I know what you're thinking. What in the gosh darn is Bits and Bombs? Bits and Bombs is a podcast deep diving into what it takes to do stand-up from a different comedian every episode. Follow new open micer Peter Dahms in his journey to be an okay comic.
Rain, hey? Know what I'm talking about? R-A-I-N. Water from the sky. You a fan of rain? You are? Me too, dude. I like rain a lot. I like rain a lot because Mum has made it a rule at home recently. That you're not allowed to use the dryer unless it's raining. Right? If it's not raining outside, you've got to hang your laundry out. So rather than using that as motivation to hang out my laundry more frequently, I've just been banking it all up until it rains. Like, I know the floods earlier this year were difficult for a lot of people, but, you know, someone had a lot of clean laundry. I don't know what to tell you.
So, Ben Hunter.
Peter Dahms.
What's your thoughts on the Cody Grimsey beef?
Look, see, I'm torn here, you know, because I'm a fan of both of you gentlemen. I've known Cody longer than I've known you, which puts me in a tricky position. I don't know the full story. I don't want to make a judgment call on a topic that I'm not 100% qualified to speak about. I would like for everyone to just get along. I think I think that would be if I would really just like for a peaceful resolution to be found between the two of you. I think you've got. Yeah, I think you'll find you've probably got more in common than you've got separated. I think you.
Is it the hair thing?
It's not. No, I think. It's not the hair thing. Like, you've both got, you know, 2-syllable first names, and then it's the hair thing. But, you know, I think you guys could really form something beautiful out. You know, you need friction to make a fire.
Ooh, that could be a show title, like a split show.
Friction to make a fire.
Yeah,
and it'd be like the like Oasis getting back together or something.
Yeah,
like the Gallagher's. Yeah,
maybe we could do like a comedy. Maybe we could do a comedy boxing match. Me and Cody.
So there's comedian boxing. Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, have you seen this gig recently that's in a boxing ring?
Yeah, wasn't it like a charity thing?
I don't know. I don't even know who's running it. I just saw photos of a few open micers, like Denzo performing in a ring. I was like, how do you get on this? This looks awesome.
I want to be.
Yeah, I kind of want to.
I'm sick of bars. Give me more boxing rings.
I kind of. Yeah, I want to do just gigs in obscure locations.
And just like muck around after the gig and like.
Yeah, but so you and Cody should do that.
Yeah, maybe we should do that gig. You're
like mic'd up. You've got like a mic strapped to your head, and then you're like doing material while fighting.
Yeah.
And then if you get a knockout, then you can finish your bit because you're not worried about getting fought. Like, Cody's dead on the ground, and you can finish your joke.
Yeah. But what if it's like you have to like it's like 3 5-minute rounds or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know how boxing works, but it's like, what if you run it and then first person run out of material? Definitely me. It's done. Like, you still have to have the material to back the time.
Keep it going. But if you're just saying material at each other at the same time, it's going to be kind of a difficult listen. I think maybe just don't box. Yeah. Actually, it seems, now that I'm thinking about it, it's pretty complicated. It seems like a little much.
Yeah, it's true. So when did you... We didn't solve anything. Start. We didn't solve anything.
Well, I feel like I'm trying to provide solutions and you're sort of brickwalling me, but we can move on. It's cool. I want to see this conflict come to an end. Israel Palestine, you know, Dahms Grimsey, and then Israel Palestine. Let's the big conflicts. Let's get our ducks in a row, and our Dahms in the ring.
So when did you start comedy?
I started comedy in March of 2021, so almost 2.5 years ago. My first gig was at Good Chat Comedy Club, but it was not a Good Chat show. Zach Hadfield was running Crack Up Comedy.
Yeah.
On Monday nights at Good Chat. I don't know how long he was doing that beforehand, but it was he had like him and Bryce Lancaster were hosting, and then the first half was like 4 comics who'd like been around the scene for a while, and then there was a break, and then the next 4 was like all open mics. And it was like me and a few others, and we were all doing like our first handful of gigs. And that was my first gig. I just had found Good Chat on Instagram. I'd wanted to for ages, but I just didn't know where. And then I found Good Chat on Instagram. I sent them a message, and then they directed me to Zach's show, and then I got put on like the next week, and then it was on. It was on for young and old, and that's where it all began, really. Yeah.
How was your first show?
It was good. It was it went well. Because it was crowd vote out of the 4 people in the second half, and then there was like $50 for whoever won.
Oh, so it was like intentionally, like it wasn't like they just happened to put.
No, that was the format of the show.
Yeah, that was the format. Okay, cool.
It worked well, and no one really does it anymore. Shad Wicker was telling me about it. It was Shad's idea. Shad was the one who apparently told Zach, like, this is how you should operate a show, and it works because then there's new people, and then they bring their mates. And then you get an audience to the show like that. People like seeing their friends, and then the first half can be like a normal good lineup of people who've done it more than a handful of times. The show went well. I had more mates than anyone else there, so I won the $50. So I won my first gig, which was just huge for me. Great to get a win off the bat. And then that was fun. And then from there, my second gig was for Brat Pack, and my heat for that, and then the final. And that was like my first 3 gigs, and then it kind of just went from there. Yeah. But the first gig was good. I got laughs kind of where I wanted to. I was pretty happy with it. Yeah. It was good fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does the Brat Pack comp work?
It happened. It's going at the minute, but so run by Good Chat, and it's kind of just anyone can sign up. I don't know what the rules are exactly on how new you have to be. At the time, I think it was, you can't have done either, like you can't have done more than like 10 gigs or have done comedy for more than a year or something. So you had to be like pretty fresh. And then there was just as many heats as they could fill of like 8 people each. I think there were 3 heats when I did it. And then they sent through like 3 people from each heat to the final. And then there was a final. They were like judges and stuff, and then they also like did like a crowd vote for who they thought was the crowd favorite. And then so then my Brat Pack was, I came runner up, and Meg Yeager won. Yeah. And I was crowd favorite, so that was nice. I won some beer. Brat Pack was like, it was such a good opportunity, and to do like my first 3 gigs at like all 3 like quite supportive and nice Good Chat rooms was like, looking back, like you couldn't ask for much more. And then it was a bit jarring going to like just other shows that weren't as friendly or in as good of a venue. But Brat Pack was great. It was a really cool thing. I got to go back. I judged a heat a few weeks ago, so awesome. It was quite a nice sort of full circle thing to come back and be the judge.
Especially like that comp split. Like there's like 8 heats or something this year.
I think there's 5.
Oh, 5.
But there's way more than there were, and they're bigger heats too, I think. So yeah, no, it's really good, and it's a good thing for like the growth of the scene. You just need new people coming through, putting pressure on people. So if they can find a few people who are new additions to the scene, it'd be really good.
There's been like quite a few good additions to the scene through that comp.
Yeah, totally. That year that I did it, it was like I was in it. Meg Yeager was in it, who went on to do like, she's in the Raw National Final this year. She came runner up there. Michael Cho. Kiara Steggett. There's a bunch of people who came through like my Brat Pack, and then the one after. Yeah, like Brat Pack's brought through a heap of people. Like Anissa Nandala did it, I think the year before me. Connor Blackley. There's a bunch of people who've come through Brat Pack. So yeah, it was good for me. And like I didn't mean to, but I timed my entry into comedy accidentally quite well, where I was like able to do Brat Pack really early. Go from there, because if I'd have started somewhere else, I wouldn't have known where to start. I would have like just kind of maybe ended up on like because they weren't running, like there wasn't Bright Eyes or anything like that yet. So I would have just probably ended up at like a sit-down open mic somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been like a bit tougher to break through. But Brat Pack was like a really good opportunity. They do a good job there.
Yeah, comps are good. Like a lot of people have like raw as their first ever gig.
Yeah.
And comps can be good because it is that encouraging
Totally.
crowd. But then it is jarring when you go to an open mic. And then it's like, oh fuck, why am I not crushing?
Yeah, exactly. Raw is interesting. I don't know about doing raw as like your first gig. I don't know. If I was I don't think it's a good idea to have raw as like your first gig, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or like to do raw too early, because you only have X amount of, like, you only have 3 chances at raw. So then if your first gig is raw, then you've just like used up an attempt. Well, you're probably not going to win because it's your first handful of gigs. There's people who've done it before, but it's very unlikely. So then, and it's a good opportunity. You get on stage, and if you do well, like that's how I got in front of like the sit down guys and stuff. That's how they, like Fidelli and stuff, gets to see you largely is through raw if they've not seen you before.
Yeah, and it'd be the same with Brat Pack, obviously, like going through a good chat and stuff.
Exactly.
And Brat Pack would be a good way to start because it's like you have to fit. You're already limited. Like there's already like a timer on. Yeah. As soon as you start, you have like a year.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of thing.
I don't know that rule's in place because there are people who've done Brat Pack like multiple times.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Brat Pack's like a cool place to start because then you also just like get introduced to the scene, because I didn't know about Good Chat until I didn't really know anything in the Brisbane comedy scene.
Yeah.
I've lived here my whole life and like been interested, like involved in like the arts and stuff for a lot of it, and I had just no idea what was going on in Brisbane until I sort of started looking into performing myself, and there's lots going on. So yeah, Brat Pack is like a good introduction, I think. And the competition thing too. You just meet people, like that's where I met Meg and stuff. And then we did like our show in Adelaide this year and things like that. So it's just, a good place to get to know people, get in front of some people. Did you do Brat Pack or anything like that?
No, I actually, because
you came down for Raw from...
Yeah. So I came down for Raw last year, but I was actually going to... So I met Jake and Chad and stuff in Mackay... December 2021 or some shit. They were there for a Mel Buttle show.
Oh yeah.
And I think they were starting to advertise Brat Pack for early last year. Cool. And I was actually going to fly down for that.
Yeah, right.
But then like a lot of the COVID, I think all the COVID stuff was kicking off again.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, just money wise, like work and stuff was cutting down. So I just couldn't afford to fly down.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, no, fair enough. And then you were able to come down for Raw anyway.
So
it works out. These things, life finds a way.
Yeah, life finds a way. But it would have been cool to do both, but it definitely was one of the other kind of things.
Totally.
So,
yeah. Oh, well, and didn't that Raw, they flew you down and stuff, didn't it?
Yeah, so I had to go to... to win a flight was pretty cool. I was like, sick. I would have done it anyway.
Qantas?
Jetstar, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, Fidelli. Splash the cash a little. Jetstar, really?
Yeah, or Virgin, I think. Either one. It definitely wasn't Qantas.
Not Qantas. No. That's poor form. He's doing all right.
Surely the pizzas would fund a bit more.
You think so?
Yeah.
Papa Fidelli's. They got to change that music. And that's all I'll say on the matter. Yeah.
So after like your first few gigs, like what was the progression there?
It was just like I just started messaging places and asking for gigs, and then I'd get them slowly but surely. And it all started like kind of happening like pretty quickly. Like Good Chat were really good to me. They put me on like some of the Wednesdays and stuff kind of shortly after Brat Pack. And then just like Greaser and the other sort of gigs around town, I just started sort of just gigging wherever I could really. And then what happened from there? I don't know, because I did Raw because that was the weird year. It was like 2021 was they had Raw in like the second half of the year, in like July and August because of COVID. So they had like one Raw there. So I did that, and that might have been like I might have done like 20 gigs or something by that point, and I made the state finals of Raw there.
Was that the one that like Bron won?
That was when Bron won. So that would have been August of 2021, and then that's when I started getting booked more consistently for like I started doing like 5s at sit down. Would do Good Chat a bit more regularly, and then started getting like trickles of paid work around there. after Raw, and then Raw 2020. Then there was Raw 2022, which was like when Josh won. And then, it was at the beginning of 2022, I kind of... Because I graduated uni at the end of 21. And then going into 2022, because I graduated in journalism, I was like, I don't really want to do that. I liked writing, but I didn't want to be a journalist. And I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I kind of just went, I'm just going to work for a year and like just kind of do as much comedy as I can and see how far I can go with it. Because it was going well. Like I felt like I was getting better. Like I did a split bill that year with a couple of others. We did Chunt Bar with Finbar and Michael Cho. And that was really fun. So I felt more confident in doing like longer sets. So I kind of said at the beginning of 2022, I'm just going to like dig in here and like kind of just do as much as I can, write as much as I can, try and get better, meet more people, do like more gigs. And then that was, and then that was kind of my all of last year was just doing comedy and working and being able to like travel for little bits of it. And then, going into sort of, and then, I don't know, I think things just kind of went from there. And then like Comedy Zone and stuff kicked off last year. So getting that. So it all was a bit of a whirlwind. Like I'm still pinching myself that it's, because it's happened quite quickly and I don't know how to handle a lot of it. Yeah. I don't know really. Yeah, I'm looking around like I feel like I just got here, you know?
Yeah.
But it's exciting. It's good.
So comedy, what is Comedy Zone?
So Comedy Zone is run by the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and every year, they've done it for like 23 years or something, and every year the festival picks like 5 up-and-comers from around the country, and then they bring you to Melbourne for the full festival, and they put on a show called Comedy Zone, which goes like 6 nights of the week, and you just do 10 minutes a night in like a lineup show, and one of the 5 is the MC. And you just do shows every night at the festival. You get to meet a bunch of people, do sort of different spots around the festival. It's really, like a super, super cool opportunity to just to get selected in the first place. But then the month itself was just so much fun. So then that happened in, because the festival is sort of April this year, and then I got selected the end of last year. So it was all, it all happened well. And I was glad that my year of not studying or working a real job, like I was working, but not pursuing anything with my degree. I was like, it was a bit of relief. I was like, okay.
You could start to see it pay off.
Yeah, I started to and having something like tangible there. I was like, okay, no, this might be able to work out. Yeah. Yeah. It was mad. It was so cool. Sorry. It was so cool. I don't know. It was just so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, sick. So how was... So you're basically still just like, that was super recent, the Comedy Zone stuff. Yeah. So
what are we? We're June the 18th now, and that was I was down there like from the last week of March into the last week of April. So it was basically a full month down there. So got back at the end of April, and just so have you been down to Melbourne for any other festival or anything?
No, I went to a few years ago. I went to Melbourne for like a Supernova, like the convention. Yeah, man. And Melbourne Comedy Festival happened to be on. I went to like one show, but I haven't experienced...
Who'd you see?
Lewis Spears.
Oh, yeah, man. Okay, cool.
And that was like my first comedy show too, 2015.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. I can't remember what my first one was that I like saw in person. I don't even know. It might have been... I saw Neil Kolhatkar like a year before I started comedy, and that was the first one that I remember like purchasing tickets to on my own. I went along with a mate. And that was good fun. That was at the Powerhouse, potentially. But, Melbourne was just... The city really comes to life. Like, Brisbane Comedy Festival is cool, but you kind of have to... I feel like you don't really know what's on unless you're already there. Because it's at the Powerhouse, and it's like... It's not super central necessarily, and there's not heaps going on at the Powerhouse, but in Melbourne, it's like...
Yeah.
You step off the plane, and there's signs everywhere. It's all through the city. Like, it's really in your face that it's going on.
I did notice this year that, like, in Brisbane, there was a fair bit of, like... There was a little bit of, like, bus stop marketing here and there.
Yeah.
Like, a little bit of posters. Not... Like, it was something you might stumble across, but it wasn't, like, massive signs everywhere.
Totally.
And, like, I was at Fortitude Music Hall, and they had, like, a beer specifically for the comedy festival.
Oh, really?
It was, like...
Great.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was some craft.
Brouhaha, maybe?
Yeah, that's actually what I was about to say. I was like, I don't think that's it, but yeah, it's a very easy one to go to.
Brouhaha. I like that. They're always trying to make a funny beer.
Yeah. Too many funny beers. We need to take beer more seriously.
Carbonating it with laughing gas and stuff. Yeah. Brisbane Comedy Festival is fun, but Melbourne was like, it was like you couldn't avoid it. It was insipid. Yeah, it was omniscient.
But and so did you catch many shows when you were there? Like, did you take the experience of being a part of it to just like catch as much as you could too?
That was probably the best part, was you get your artist pass, so you can kind of go and see any show for free.
Yeah.
As long as there's room, you can sneak into the back and watch whatever you want.
Yeah.
So our show was at like 8:00, but we had Wednesdays off, because the venue we were in, there were like multiple rooms in this one venue, and the whole venue always had Wednesday off. So then, but every other show at the festival would have Monday off. So on our Wednesday, then every other show was still going on. So then you'd go like 3 shows in one night, and you'd go like 6 p.m. till 7, 7:30 to 8:30, 9 till 10, and just try and like, I think I kept a little list. I saw like 25 shows or something across the month. Then you'd go like before your show and then after your show. Just try and, just take it all in. That was the best part, probably, just seeing so many cool shows, and seeing stuff from people you hadn't heard of, or that you just like, or you'd never seen, or that you just heard whispers of, because people talk, people are chatting about what's good, and just being able to go along. It was so cool. Yeah, you should go down and check it out.
Yeah, I kind of want to like see if I can do sound for someone or something. Yeah, next year.
That's how people do it, and then you get the pass still if you're just doing sound or working at a venue.
That's kind of my strategy, is to help someone with sound or door or something.
Right. A great idea.
And get like a pass, because I think like at this level, like I'm happy to just go as a fan that wants to see comedy. Like, and during the festival, I can imagine all the spots are for people promoting shows.
Yeah,
so
and you can weasel spots. Like people do it who aren't at the show. It is trickier. Yeah. Like I don't think I would have got much if I wasn't like part of it, because we were able to do some spots around it. But if you can go down and like, that's a great idea, going down and working. Like our tech Charlie, they were from Perth, and they just came across to work for the festival for the month, like sent them an email, got a job teching in a venue, and then go to the artist bar, go to different shows, like check it all out. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think like get whatever gigs I can, but not have that be like, I'm going to do gigs.
Yeah, if you can go down and be a part of it all, it'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So you also said earlier, because you have a bit of like public speaking background stuff too, don't you? Like debate team stuff?
That's kind of what like through school and stuff, I did heaps of that. So I did like drama and stuff, but then also like lots of debating, public speaking, Model United Nations, kind of anything where I could be the center of attention for a little while. So I did lots of that, and then I coach a debating team at my old high school. I think it's really fun. I think it's interesting. And then I host like a debating show in Brisbane now. Like I've done that a couple of times. I'm doing it again next month. It's just fun. But that was how I started. I think having done like public speaking and debating and stuff helped me transition into comedy, because I was confident with public speaking already. So then when I started doing stand-up, like there were some nerves to overcome, but they were primarily about being funny. Like I wasn't also combining the nerves of whether or not I'll be funny with like just being on like speaking and being in front of people. Like I kind of knew I'd done that before. Yeah. So I had less to be nervous about, kind of like I was able to get over the nervousness of being in front of people quicker. But still had the anxiety of whether or not it was going to be funny. Yeah. But I think you see some people, and it's not a bad thing, but then it's just a thing of like getting used to public speaking if you've not done much of it. And then that's just like a tricky thing to overcome. Yeah. Yeah.
I think public speaking is something that like that's the biggest hurdle for a lot of people. That's why like you would get a lot of people like, oh my God, I could never do comedy. That's brave. All that type of stuff.
The people say that. I'm like, I'm not. I don't think like brave is such a strong word.
Yeah, I'm a coward.
Yeah, exactly. But like the nervousness thing, like I'll still get nervous. Yeah. But it wasn't as big of a thing just because I'd done so much, like just being just talking in front of people already, that I was kind of used to it. So I can't speak. Like, had you done much of that before you started comedy? Like, how were you public speaking wise?
I was okay. I didn't have like heaps of experience. I wasn't like a regular thing I did, but I like was school captain once. So like I did like a few of those school captains. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't
of a 60 kid school. So,
great.
You know.
Oh no, captain, my captain. I tried to be school captain.
How'd you go?
Here's the thing. There was like a school captain, and then there were 4 vice captains. It's a big school. It's school captain, 4 vice captains, and then they whittled it down to 6. And then and I was one of the 6, and the 6 of us had to make a speech to everyone, and then it was voted upon, and everyone got one, and I was the odd one out. I didn't get one. Everyone else got a captain or vice captain, and but I'm over it.
You just invite
I've moved on. Yeah,
you just invite them all to your shows now.
Yeah. You know, you guys.
Who are you?
You guys got to be school captain and respected by your peers. But did you do 7 to 10 minutes of the hop and pickle the other night?
Don't think so.
You'd crumble. You wouldn't be able.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't survive a minute of the hop and pickle.
Yeah.
I love the pickle.
Yeah, and then actually, I used to like when I was 17, I was part of like a nerd convention committee, and So I did.
That's not what it was called.
No, Sugar City Con.
Sugar City Con.
Yeah, it was like Comic Con kind of thing.
Yeah, great.
In Mackay.
You don't have to call it nerd. You don't have to
degrade myself.
No.
I just think it's the easiest way to explain it.
That's right.
Nerd convention.
It's cool with me. You don't have to.
Geek convention.
Yeah.
Loser convention.
Yeah, you were part of Dork Con.
Dork
Con. That sounds
yeah.
awesome, man.
Okay, buddy.
Good.
But I had like a little bit of public speaking stuff there. Like I'd interviewed like did like panels for like the guests, so like voice actors and all that type of stuff.
Oh, cool. Okay. So. Yeah, great. So yeah, I think that's a big thing because lots of people are funny, but then it's the public speaking that can kind of like just the ability to like get your ideas across sort of confidently. And
also like the type of funny too. There's like it's like some people like there's like a socially funny. Yeah. Because what they're saying might be like they're just referencing things that are relevant to the situation. Like some people are mostly funny because they're just saying like TikToks. Or you've got
in jokes with your mates.
Or in jokes and stuff too.
Oh, yeah, heaps of people are funny. And also like the funniest person you know is never like a comedian. Yeah. It's like your dad or your like or your aunt or your sister or like
or the lawyer at work or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think if you ask anyone in comedy or otherwise like, oh, who's the funniest person you know? It's probably not a comedian. Yeah. It's just someone they know. Yeah. But then isn't there something beautiful about that? Like just people who are just funny but they don't feel the need to like make it their livelihood. Oh, what a dream! just to be funny
just to exist,
just for the love of it. Yeah.
Love of the game.
just the love of the game. Yeah, not like us.
Yeah,
trying to monetize.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Forcing people to listen to us.
Yeah, forcing. Yeah, strap their ears, pin them down to the table. Yeah.
Yeah. So fuck, I don't know where to go from that.
That's okay. We can go anywhere.
Yeah, anyway.
What do you want to talk about now?
Choose your own bit. Do you watch the news?
Not really.
Yeah, neither.
Probably should.
Yeah, probably. There's stuff happening.
There's stuff going on, but
there's stuff going on.
Yeah, but I'll find out about the big stuff. Someone will. Yeah. I deleted Twitter though, and that was where I was getting a lot of, especially just pop culture stuff. But it's just I deleted a bunch of social media apps off my phone, but I just kept the ones I'm most addicted to. So now it's like I'm just isolating those ones. Like I'm just mainlining those.
Yeah,
like
I deleted
I deleted Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook, but now I've just got Instagram and TikTok, and those are my favorite ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like, I need a social media detox. Yeah. I like deactivate my Facebook, but that's not the one that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really not helping that much, but it's small steps.
Yeah. It's kind of actually social media is like a necessary evil to what we do as well, though.
Yeah, it's tricky, hey, because you're using it to promote stuff and keep a track what's going on
and rooms and stuff too, and spots.
Yeah. But so that is tricky. So I tell myself like I can't delete Instagram because not to just take it off my phone. I was like I can't do that because I need to know what's going on, but I don't. You'd be fine if you just didn't have it all. There's plenty of people who are like excellent comedians and successful at it without being connected on social media and stuff at all. It's very possible.
Do you think they're at a point where they can do that? Like being like a new open micer.
Yeah.
I think you're missing spots by like, you know, the Brisbane Comedy Board or something.
Yeah, that's true. I think, there's something to be said for that, especially nowadays. I think there's probably a middle line. I think you see some people go too far with like trying to be like super present on social media and make it like their whole thing, and like starting a new Instagram account for their comedy career and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really get about that. Get around that. Like, I think you got to still maintain that you are still like you're a normal person.
Yeah.
Who like does, you know, you've got a life and stuff, and you know, you can't. Yeah. As soon as you make like comedy like your whole thing, you know, or like everything about your like presence, then I think that's when you're in danger. But so I think you got to be on social media. But I guess, and that is true. Like there are people who get to a certain point where they don't need to be on social media. But then you look at like a Dan Rath or a Sam Campbell and stuff, and they don't really have. Yeah. Like Dan Rath's got nothing.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw Dan Rath at Powerhouse the other week. And I looked for him on Instagram, and I couldn't find anything. I was like, he's nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like the word of mouth kind of thing that you're talking about. How like everyone's just like fucking watch Dan Rath. He's great.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. But yeah, he just does it purely on like word of mouth. People just know him because he was a Brisbane guy. Like he used to. Yeah. I think he lives in Sydney now, but yeah, he was just like he was ethereal. You know, you just kind of heard whispers of him, and he was here and there, but he's just a machine. He's so funny. But yeah, he does it all without socials. He just makes it work, and he won like the Comics Choice Award at Melbourne Comedy Festival for best show. Oh, it's so good. I really like Dan Rath.
So did you get to catch him at Comedy Festival?
I saw his show at Comedy Festival. Yeah. Oh, it's so he was like I snuck in. It was the third of my 3 shows for that evening. Like I just went 3 all in the one venue. I saw what did I see? I saw Takashi Wakashugi into Guy Montgomery into Dan Rath. It's one of the best nights of my life. But Dan Rath was like, his show was like, it was maybe like half full. It was a Wednesday. And then he's like talking to the whole row of people. And he's like, then I was on the end of this row. I'm there on my own. And he's like talking to these people. He's like, how do you guys find the show? And they're like, oh, we got free tickets. He's like, oh no. Oh, grilled zucchini chips. Oh no. And it was gone terribly. And then he asked the people next to them, how did you find out about the show? And they were like, yeah, we got free tickets as well. He's like, oh no. And then he gets to me. He's like, what about you, man? How did you find out about it? And I was about to, like, I didn't know what I was going to say, but I was about to respond. And he goes, oh no, I know you. You damn it. Like, I was like, yeah, sorry. But he's... Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Dan Rath. Just doing it his own way. It's great.
So with your, actually back to the public speaking stuff, did you ever find in debates that you were like sliding in jokes where you could and being funny? Like, was that like where you first got like or like you'd say something and people laughed and that was like your first kind of like taste of doing stand up in a way?
No, I was taking debating pretty seriously. Yeah? Like I wasn't there to fuck spiders. I was
there to win.
I was there to win. I wasn't trying to be funny. Sometimes I guess I would. There might be a laugh. Yeah. But no, I don't think it was necessarily from that. I was just like trying to be funny outside of it and like making little skits and videos and stuff like that. And always thinking like, yeah, I never really like wanted to be a full-time comedian growing up. I knew I wanted to give it a try just to kind of say that I'd done it. Yeah. But it was never necessarily like, oh yeah, this is... I'm not one of those people like I didn't grow up wanting to do stand-up comedy. It just kind of started happening. So now it's kind of the goal. But I'm content with the idea that I might stop one day and that would be fine. Yeah. If it stops being enjoyable, like... I don't know, no matter how profitable it would be, I would like to think that if it's not enjoyable anymore, then I'd have the balls to just stop and do something else. Still hopefully comedy adjacent, but... And
I think, with what you've already, like, you could quit tomorrow and, like, be happy with what you've already, like, achieved as well.
Yeah, I think it's a real baller move. I think, like, there's a couple of people like that who just... Yeah, they've got promise and then they just, like, want to focus on other things and then they just stop. Like, I think that's so sick.
Yeah, I think there's something, like... respectable and like quitting something, even though you're really good and probably have a great future,
Yeah.
quitting it because you don't enjoy it rather than just being a miserable
just
person that's been doing it for 30 years or whatever. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, totally. And then, you can always get back into it. But yeah, I've kind of always tried to think like, if I'll just do it as long as it's fun. And it's still fun. So I'm just going to keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
For
and
sure.
you do so you've been doing skits and stuff for a while, like TikTok type stuff, or?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I was like just recording jokes into my phone and putting them on TikTok for like maybe a year before I started doing stand up. And that's where I was like I think my first set was all just me repeating stuff that I'd said on TikTok, or like the majority of it. Yeah. Because I'll just like open my phone and I'll like write a bit down. Yeah. And then I think that was how I like ended up figuring out a bunch of stuff. Because I'll like write stuff all the time just in my notes. I'm like, oh, this might be a funny concept. But then pulling out TikTok and going like, okay, and then I'll say the joke into it. But then saying it to an audience and like trying to make it make sense to other people. Taking it because you can just write like a sentence in your notes and it only makes sense to you. But then filming something, it's like a good exercise in like making it make sense and like expressing your idea. So I was doing that for a while, but then like growing up I was just making like home videos and stuff and they never went anywhere. It was just like to show my mom and dad. And then TikTok, like I had some like get some likes, but it was mostly just to like practice saying them and just doing stuff I thought was funny. And then like my first handful of sets, a bunch of it was just me taking stuff that I'd said on TikTok and just saying them on stage. And I still do some of that. Like I'll just test bits on TikTok.
I was actually going to ask, because you still do like a lot of TikTok stuff.
Yeah.
What makes you determine whether or not you're going to do a joke like that's a stand-up bit or that's a TikTok thing? Like what's the decision there? Like
often I'll do both.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times I'll test something for the first time on TikTok. And it's not about how many likes it gets. It's just, does this like make sense to other people?
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes they'll get a lot of likes and sometimes they won't. But like, some things can just only exist in TikTok because it's like a visual thing.
Yeah.
But then if I think something's funny, I'll say it on both. I'll try and get as much out of it. I'll try and milk that puppy as much as I can.
Yeah.
Like I'll wring the bastard dry, and then I'll put some stand-up clips on TikTok. But I think I don't film every set. I should. But I think with putting clips on TikTok or Reels or whatever, I think they've just got to look good because like no one wants to watch like your video that you've propped up on like a schooner glass from like the other side of the room and it sounds terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like post stuff that I buy off the sit down or whatever. I just think it's got to look and sound good because I don't want to watch a shitty quality video. It doesn't matter how good the joke is. But if it looks and sounds good and you can do like captions and stuff, I'm going to try and do more of that, I think.
And do you worry about like burning material? Like when it comes to uploading it?
I did. I think I'm going to stop worrying about it. Yeah, because I've only posted a few things and a lot of that is like crowd work stuff or like things that I can't really recreate. Like it's me talking with like audience members and stuff. So it's not necessarily like bits.
Yeah.
So I think that's like ideal if you can do that because that's like the Luke Kidgel model, isn't it?
It's become like a standard kind of thing, like to do crowd work clips because that's a moment that's never going to be recreated.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not burning material or anything. So,
but then like Kidgel does it in a way where it's like he's asking a question, like he's inviting the crowd work. I don't really do that. I don't really like it when people talk.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, I'm the one, you know.
Yeah,
leave it to me.
Yeah.
You know? But then sometimes it happens, and then those are good clips. Oftentimes, I think burning material is good. Oh, it's not good. I don't know why I said that. Burning material is like, I think I did worry about it, but I think in the future I'm not really going to. Like not post stuff as soon as it happens. Like you want to get enough out of it. But then if you can get, you know, like what are the odds that more than 5% of the crowd have seen the clip that you posted on TikTok at a random gig? And people like hearing jokes again. Like if it's the reason they came to a show because they saw a clip of yours on a social media platform, they're not going to be upset if they have to hear it one more time. I think a lot of the time they like it. So I think it's fine. Yeah. I'm not like, I think you should keep the clips that you post like short. Don't post like a full 5-minute bit. That's probably silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, post stuff and I think it's got to look good. And sound good. I think sound's almost more important because you hear ones and there's people rattling around.
Yeah, and like super echoey and
yeah, and it sucks. Yeah, who's into that? Not me.
No one.
Nope.
So you did? Was it this? So you did a solo show like a few weeks ago. Well, you did 2 runs of it. Do you want to tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So when before I went to Melbourne, I was like, I really want to write while I'm down there, because I wasn't working or anything during the day. Like I was only really had things to do at night. So I was like, I got to make the time I'm there worth it. So I was determined I got to write every day, but I knew that I wasn't going to write every day unless I had a reason to. So before I went, I spoke with Good Chat and I organised a show like a couple of weeks after I got back called No Netball, a Never Before Performed Hour of Handsome Comedy. And the whole point was that it was going to be all new stuff that I wrote while I was there. And then I started selling tickets before I'd written any of it. I was like promoting it and going, come to the show. And then while I was in Melbourne, I'd go to the library and write every day. And then I spent probably 3 of the 4 weeks just writing in my notebook. And then I spent the last week kind of typing up everything that I'd written and sort of organising it and coming up with sort of figuring out how it was all going to come together. And then I wrote more than an hour in the end. And then when I got back to Brisbane, then I had like 2 or 3 weeks of just gigging every night and just testing out this new stuff. Like, and it was called No Netball because like every night I was doing the netball gear while I was in Melbourne, just my material about netball. And I'd just been doing it for ages. I was like, I need to freshen it up. I can't just keep doing this forever. And then, I was just testing material, and then I did it so I got back on like April 24th, and then I did the first show of it on May 12th. I sold that out. So then we did it again a couple of weeks later. And then that sold well as well. I got to test out a bunch of stuff. People came along, they liked the show. And there's a bunch of that show that I'll just never do again. Yeah. Because it was bad. And it just wasn't that funny, and it's like didn't really make sense. But then there's plenty of it that I really like and that I will still do today, and that I think is like some of the best stuff I've come up with. So, but having that deadline of like knowing that I had to do a show was the best thing that I did. I think it was such a like just helpful thing, having like a definitive date. You've got to have this much written by this point.
Yeah, I think there's like you kind of like this is what I do like with this podcast. I recorded the very first episode in January, didn't release it till like April, and then I made myself like commit to like a weekly schedule every Wednesday, and that just I feel like because if you don't set a deadline, you're gonna gonna never get it done. And I need to do that with like writing. I need to like aim to maybe have like a new bit a week or whatever. Just to like actually write stuff, because I'm not really writing anything because I'm not committing to it.
I'm terrible with that. Just procrastination and stuff. Some people are really good and will sit down and like write every day. And just have like a routine. I'm terrible. I'll go ages without writing anything. But when I was in Melbourne, I like just had a reason that I had to stay disciplined. I was like, well, people are going to come to the show. People came to that show who'd come to like my split bill that I did earlier, which was that was half an hour of my best stuff that I'd written over the course of like 2 years. So people will know if I'm repeating gear doing this hour. And then, I was really happy with it in the end. And because I hadn't done an hour before that.
Yeah, I was going to say like for your
and then having it to be all stuff that I'd written in the past, like 6 weeks was like, I did have a couple of moments where I was like, I've bitten off more than I can chew here. And I probably did to a certain extent. There was plenty that was like, such a shit house. But then like I got a bunch of good stuff out of it. So, and that was kind of the thing. I was like, even if only 10 minutes of this hour is worth saying again, then it's been like a worthwhile thing, because it's 10 minutes that I wouldn't have written without having done the show.
And at the end of the day, the crowd still enjoyed it, and that's like the main.
Yeah, you were there at the second one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was great.
Nice. Thanks, man. It was really fun to do. And the second run, because we had there was all sorts of tech issues in the first one, so having the second one go much smoother was really nice. And
I thought it was cool, like the way you like had little gags, like visual gags, and then like kind of skit type stuff as well.
There was the Anteater and the Ant, Subway Surfers, and there was a bit going on. I wanted to make it feel like a proper show. And the exciting part was like some people came along who'd never heard of me. They just like found it on like Eventbrite or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
So they didn't know me, they didn't know Good Chat, they didn't know anything. And then they enjoyed the show, and they like told me afterwards that they really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really nice. So I was like, you got no reason to say that at all or even be here. And like you still like because I had like friends and family come along.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice hearing from like total strangers that they had a nice time.
Yeah, especially it was also cool that people were able to find it like organically just scrolling Eventbrite or something.
Yeah, that was really nice. So just having that, because that's the dream, isn't it? Performing a show to a room full of strangers.
Yeah.
I hate when like people I know come along. I don't hate when they come along. I hate when I don't like seeing them. Like if I know people are coming along, I'll tell them just sit at the back. Like if you're in the front row, I'm like, I don't know. It ruins the magic. I love performing in like a different city where I don't know anyone, because then it's like you're not going to see them again afterwards.
Yeah, you're not like, oh, my mum didn't laugh during that, but like you're not worrying about like
exactly.
who you know.
Yeah, totally.
If they laugh or not.
Exactly. And if it goes terribly, you'll never see them again. But then, I don't know. There's something so I love it when it's just strangers, which it usually is. It's really nice. Yeah. Yeah,
that's cool that you committed to something and like it paid off. So for your first hour, like that's a crazy idea.
Pretty relieved it came off. Oh, I'm so glad I did it. I was like, I'd recommend it to people, because even if it goes terribly, then you've gotten better at writing. Yep. You've got the experience of being on stage for an hour. God, it's long. Oh my God, I was so exhausted afterwards. I don't know how people can do this like a couple of times a night for multiple nights. Yeah, it's exhausting. It's just you for ages.
Even like, because I think the most I've done is like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So like going from 5 to 10 was when I was like a few months, like a month or two in, I was like, oh my God.
I remember I did like one of my first 10-minute sets after only doing 5s, and then I was so certain I'd gone over, and I just felt like I'd been there for an eternity. And I got off stage and I checked and I'd done like 7.5.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that just felt like ages. But you get used to it. Like, you'd be doing more sort of longer sets and stuff now. Doing some?
Yeah, I'm doing some 10s here and there.
Some 7s and 10s. Yeah, just like making that jump. You just get more comfortable with it. Like I much prefer a 7 to 10 to a 5. It's just longer and it feels like you've got more time to kind of muck around. Yeah. Like it doesn't, like doing Raw and stuff, it was like just so difficult.
Yeah.
Compressing it all.
I got into a rut where like my set was like down to like 4 minutes or whatever. So then I was like, some gigs I'd be like 5 to 7, and I'd be like, fuck, I haven't done the other jokes for ages because I've been worrying. I've been caught up in this Raw thing.
Yeah. You don't want to go over but I go over all the time. I'm terrible. I did 17 and a 10.
Oh, 17. Wait.
I did 17 and a 10 not long ago.
How do you almost double?
I was it was this one. It was at Brisbane, which is like this like, it's really fun. But they did one they had me on. They had like a showcase at the Brisbane Comedy Festival in the Pleasure Dome, the big tent, and they like told me like to do some like sillier stuff. Like they like it when it's a bit more. They wanted it a bit more like absurd and stuff. They were like, go crazy, do whatever. And then I have this like story about a camel that I can only do when I have like these longer sets. And I did it once at Brisbane like a year before, and they loved it. So I was like, okay, I want to do the camel story again. I don't get to do the camel story much. It's long. It's probably 7 minutes. And then I was like, okay, I'll do one bit, and then I'll do the camel story. But then that one bit, like I ended up on all these different side tracks, and there were like 200 and something people there. So then it was busy, and there's things going on and people laughing a lot. And then there was like an Auslan interpreter, which I'd never seen before. So then I was like doing I was talking to the Auslan interpreter. I was like talking about Flow Rider and stuff, and asking her like, how do you say Flow Rider in Auslan? Just stuff like that. I was just mucking around, and then I like looked back at the recording, and I got to the camel story, which is like at least 7 minutes, and I'd already done 8. And I was like, well, I'm sending it now. Like they were fine with it, but I was pretty naughty of me. The 17 and a 10 is ridiculous. So I'm trying to be better at not going over. But it's just so fun. That camel story, I really like it. I wish I could do it every night. It's so silly. So, it's about a guy who's like dad is a camel and mum is a human.
You can do it for you have 7 minutes to do it. No, just kidding.
No, you can't do it. I didn't bring the right book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's in an old notebook. But I printed it out and then glued it into my notebook because it just looks better if it looks like you're reading it from a handwritten thing. Like same with like I've got poems and stuff, and I like typed those all out when I first wrote them, then writing them in the notebook and then reading from a notebook. It just looks better than reading it from the phone or like memorizing it. Like I know all of those poems from memory, but I just think it's like much weirder if you're just standing there reciting poetry as opposed to flipping through a book. Yeah, it's just a nice visual thing.
Yeah, you do a bit of poetry, like
I'm doing all sorts of.
You're mucking around.
I'm mucking around. I'm doing poetry. I put myself in a poetry band at one point because I was just coming up with an idea, and then my first instinct was like, just make it a poem. Because then like the poems and stuff. It's only funny because it's a poem. And then I just got into a rut where I was like, I wasn't writing jokes. I was just writing poems because they're just funny by nature of being poems. So I put myself in a poetry band, and now I haven't really written a poem since, but I've written some jokes.
Yeah. So the poetry stuff come before comedy then?
The poetry was taking precedence. Yeah, I didn't know. I was just overwhelmed by poetry.
Oh no, I mean, were you into poetry before getting stand up?
I just wrote a poem. I watched a Sam Campbell video where there's this great video of Sam Campbell doing poetry at some gig, and they were just so funny. I was like, oh, I'd love to write a silly poem like that. Yeah. And then I did. I wrote this like poem about trying to make friends at Suncorp Stadium. And then I wrote that and I really liked it. And that was silly. And then I wrote another poem, and then I wrote another poem, then I wrote another poem. And then it was just too many poems. I wasn't really into poetry before. Yeah.
It's funny that you mention it because I saw James McCann recently. He was doing poems, and that made me go, maybe I should try writing poems.
Oh, but he does like real poems. He's so good at them. I think his poetry is like, he's really good. The 9/11 Marlon Brando one.
Yeah, I've been meaning to buy that off. Like it's on, like you can buy it online.
Just the poem itself. He read it out loud in a podcast at one point. I think the title of the Catamaran Plan episode is just like Marlon Brando 9/11. It's just brilliant.
Because he made it into so like fun. A book named that.
Yeah, he released a book, and I haven't seen the book, but it's just excellent. He's hilarious. Yeah, good on him.
What's the worst gig you've done, or the worst experience you've had during a gig, like where I guess the crowd just weren't feeling you?
That's a good question. I did one at the Greenbank RSL, kind of early on. It's a gig. They still do it every like few months, and it's run by Sit Down. And I had 5 minutes there, and it's just this enormous room at like the ritziest RSL you've ever seen, but there were like 12 people there or something, and I just died. I don't know, but they weren't really feeling anyone. Bron Lewis was on after me, and they liked Bron. Or maybe she was emceeing. I can't really remember. But she mentioned it to me recently. She was like, "Remember that gig you did?" And it was just going terribly. And then I did my last bit, and then I said thank you. I said thank you, Greenbank RSL. That one was for the Anzacs. But yeah, that was. But I was doing I was trying new stuff. Like I did this bit about. I was like laminating my hair at Officeworks, like because I wanted to like make a fossil. Like, I was jealous of dinosaurs that they had fossils, so I went to Officeworks and like laminated one of my hairs. And even they didn't like it. And in retrospect, I don't even really like it. I don't know really what I expected from them. That might have been the worst one, but other than that, I don't know. I'm due a really good bomb. Like I need a real stinker. Yeah, it's been too long. Maybe I don't know when the last time I really stunk a place up was. That was a bad one though. That was like my first real one where I was like, that was maybe like 4 or 5 months into my stand up. Yeah, no, that was terrible. What about you? You done any perlers lately?
Not lately.
Yeah.
Nah. Just stuff where it's like, the crowd wasn't feeling it, but
and that Greenback RSL, like it was 12. Yeah, they were. There was a crazy crowd though. Like there was 2 of the audience members like owned a swingers club, and what was it? They had so the MC was asking them about it. They were like, how much does it cost to get in? And they were like, they said it's $70 for men, $30 for women, but as a deal, it's $100 for a couple. Like a man and a woman, but that's not a deal.
That's just
the same price.
prices.
Yeah. I thought that was so funny.
That's just maths,
like,
dude.
70. It's either 70 for blokes, 30 for women, or come dealing together and it's 100. These were not the clever people, but they did own a swingers club. Good on them.
Yeah, they have an ABN. They're business owners. That's something.
They're small business owners. Yeah, they should get them on the NAB ad.
Yeah, yeah, applying for a loan.
Yeah, I'd like that. But I can't believe they're still running that gig. I mean, good on them. You know, I'd do it again. But yeah, I heard recently that it was a similar experience. I don't know if the swingers were still there.
Yeah, that's just their one gig they go to. They're just always
that's
there.
their night off.
Yeah,
on a Tuesday. Yeah, we'll head down to the RSL, watch the comedy. Got plenty of room.
Yeah, so what's next for you? So you've done your first hour.
Is that 57 minutes?
Yeah, we're at 57 minutes.
Oh my goodness, it's flown by.
Yeah.
Wow, we.
Just yarning.
We're just yarning, bro.
We're just hanging out.
What's next?
Yeah, what's next for you? So you've just finished your hour show, your first hour. Do you have anything else planned for this year?
Yeah, a couple of things planned. I was telling you, I'm doing a split bill with Cody Grimsey and Stephen Head in a few weeks.
I can't believe you betrayed me like that. Yeah,
sorry to bring him up, mate. I've got my feet in different. I'm Switzerland. I got my feet in different doors. I got my fingers in different honey pots. Doing a split bill with those two gentlemen. That'll be fun. 20 minutes each, and then my debating show at the end of next month. I'm keen to get that. Up and about again. It's been ages since I haven't done one since October, and I was trying to do it like every 3 months, and then just things got in the way. So we're finally back for that. And then September, doing a show at the Good Chat Comedy Festival, and then also at the Sydney Fringe Festival, doing working towards having like a festival show for next year to take to Adelaide and Melbourne and maybe Sydney comedy festivals for 2024. So now that's kind of like the goal at the minute, is to just have like a really solid hour for next year to just see how we go, really. Yeah. So just trialing that in September and then looking to festivals next year. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I'm excited. What about you? You've got your split bill? Yeah,
doing split bill.
Great. So what's that 15, 20 each?
I think about like 15 each maybe.
Great. Have you figured out who's going where? Yeah,
so I'm going to open. Daniel's going to be after me, then Josh closes.
Sure.
So, that's the order we've got so far.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be fun. Silly little stories, huh?
Yeah, silly little stories, and we got September 11 as our date.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Well, I don't know if it's quite locked in yet, but that's the date we've been offered, so...
Great. Well, fantastic.
And we're like, that's the only date we can do now.
September 11th?
Yeah.
No one will forget. Like, everyone will be there. A third little story has hit the... I don't know. Yeah, good fun. I'm excited. Look, I'm excited for the future.
A lot of good things to look forward to.
A lot of good things to look forward to. A lot of people to meet, people to greet, stories to tell, jokes to write, gigs to perform at,
and maybe bomb at. Just so
maybe bomb at.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you up to much this week?
No, not really. Just work and stuff. And
yeah.
I'm going to Sydney next month.
Oh, great. Gigging?
Yeah, gigging and potting and stuff. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're going to do some Sid pods?
Do some Sid pods, yeah.
Who are you trying to get?
I'm trying to get Tom Wickham.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any other big fish?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a few people lined up.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm also just trying to I need to look at who to contact to hit up for a pod too. But
who would be interesting to talk to in Sydney? They're all bastards down there.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk to any of them.
Yeah. What are you doing this week?
Nothing. I've been gigless this last week. It's been so nice. And then I'm going on holiday with my family next week. But then my July is busy. We got a busy July.
Oh,
Lots going on. Let me tell you,
opposite
mate.
of dry July.
Oh, wet July.
Yeah.
This July is fucking
Drenched.
It's sopping. It's
Yeah.
disgusting. It's really gross. It's just drooping and dropping. I'm excited for my July. Lots going on. Lots going on this July.
How are you going to handle it?
Just be really brave.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna. I've been like just kicking the football on my own a lot recently. Just going to the park. I'll just go on my own and go down to Coorparoo Junior Australian Football Club. Take the foot. No one's there. I got the whole field to myself. Kick some goals, run around, mutter to myself commentary.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do a lot of that in July.
Cool. So besides the footy field, where else can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at BNHNTR. At Ben. It's just Ben Hunter without the vowels. It's nice and concise. I post gigs, like what gigs I'm doing and stuff there. There's a link tree there. You can buy tickets to stuff if you want. And on TikTok at Benny Cheeks. If anyone's interested in looking at that. Do you clip this up?
I can clip it up.
No. I was just wondering. You should, it's a good idea filming it.
Yeah, I've been a bit lazy on the clipping it up thing.
That's right.
I clipped up one thing.
Which one?
A Gemma Bailey thing.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah, I clipped that up, and then I need to clip up more stuff.
I listened to that episode on an aeroplane.
Oh,
it's a great plane listen, mate. This pod is a great.
It's not for trains.
No, this I think, and I enjoyed it more the higher up I was.
Yeah,
it got worse as I came to hit the ground. I think it's better at 30,000 feet.
Yeah. Okay.
Pilot's choice.
Yeah.
The choice podcast of the aviation industry.
But not Qantas. Was they
No.
No.
I was on a Qantas plane though, not to.
Oh, not to. Whoa, he's doing well.
Things are going alright.
He's doing well.
Yeah, my dad paid for it. No, I'm a flying Virgin mostly. On Jetstar.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably wrap this up, hey?
Yeah, we should leave it.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on the Dahms cast.
No worries. Thanks for coming.